Hello everyone and welcome to this week's episode of the Aftermath series. Let us waste no time at all and dive right into this week's episode of Critical Role. So we start off with Caleb talking with Clay. In this conversation, Clay is trying to make Clay feel better and more welcome. It seems that Caleb is getting the sense that Clay might feel out of place or that he doesn't belong. And since Caleb is no stranger to that feeling, he decided to try and fix it. Caleb knows the group can be rather unruly at times, but he also knows that they can really come together when it matters most, and that's the quality that Caleb wants to show Clay before he might decide that he wants to leave the group. And what better way to show appreciation to Clay than to give Molly's old necklace to him? A beautiful and symbolic passing of the torch from Molly to Caduceus, fully welcoming him into the group. And also during this conversation, Clay brought up the topic of fate and how our paths are already set and there's essentially nothing we can do to change them. This obviously doesn't sit well with Caleb, nor does it align with his beliefs, since he literally wants to change his entire past. Moving on to another conversation between Jester and Knot this time, there is a running theme this episode with Jester. It's clear that there is a boy that she's interested in, and I certainly have no idea who that could be. But she does seek advice from Knot, where they talk about Knot's first kiss. Now, Knot at first didn't seem all that excited to share her story. She sort of brushed it off and said it was nothing. This immediately led me to believe that perhaps she was forced into a marriage. But that theory quickly fizzled out as their conversation progressed and Knot said it was merely a dare. But since Knot is the motherly figure of the group and Jester is seen as rather naive and innocent, it's very possible that Knot simply withheld the truth to keep Jester's innocence. And now we move on to Avantika's test for the Mighty Nine. At first I thought Ford would opt to stay course and not intercept the vessel, however that's not how events transpired at all. And it seemed that for the most part the party was fine with stealing from the other vessel. Even Clay, who I thought would be completely against this, had sort of a group preservation mentality about it. They needed the supplies and as long as no one got hurt, it was fine by him. But now that certainly did not stop Matt from showing how terrible this act was. He showed the fear, the anger, from the captain and the deckhands. He made sure to show the Mighty Nine that what they were doing is wrong. And this definitely doesn't live up to what Molly's philosophy of leaving places better than you found it. And given this whole ordeal that transpired, there are surely going to be repercussions down the line. This ship is from the Clovis Concord after all, a very powerful group of wizards. And let's not forget that they are desperately looking for the dodecahedron that the party still has in their possession. And let's not also forget a rather important member of the Concord, Trent Ickathon. What do you think he will do when he hears about how one of his trade vessels was hit by a red-haired wizard that shoots fire from his hands? However, it's also possible that this will all be swept under the rug since I'm sure the Concord has much more pressing matters to deal with. Now during this whole scenario, it was clear that Knot was really getting into her job. No need to look deep there since she's always had a love for explosives. However, I want to look at something else. The crew she was working with and the man she was working under didn't care that she was a goblin. It's possible she may feel more welcomed in a group of pirates due to the fact that they don't judge. They're simply there to do a job and get paid. And then after everything was over, Ford had asked the group how everyone felt about it, and not only cared about her job at the cannons. I took this as her way of trying to separate herself from what the party did, since it's likely it didn't sit well with her given her past and how she broke away from her goblin tribe. Later on in the episode, we also got a rather intense conversation between Ford and Caleb. This conversation weighs heavy on the audience and Caleb since we know about his past, but Ford still has no idea what he's really saying to Caleb when he asks, "Have you ever sacrificed anything?" Now this conversation led to Caleb saying that he believes Avantika will try to kill Ford, which I think is 100% true. There's nothing that's going to stop Avantika from achieving her goal, and if she thinks even for a second that Ford will try to stop her in any way, shape, or form, she will not hesitate to kill him. Later on in the evening, Jester is visited by the Traveler, and as Liam put it, he sure is creepy. Seriously though, this guy says and does the creepiest things. Are we to believe that the Traveler has no malicious intent at all? What's his end goal here? And what's in store for poor Jester when the gathering of the Traveler's followers happens? It's clear that the Traveler has something planned for that reunion. And Ford also had a dream that night. Now, this dream that he had tells us a couple things. Either Vanderin is alive and well and still pursuing a similar goal, or there is a new chosen that is yet to be seen. And it also gave us the location of another eye, and now that the party is in Darktow, they may want to try and slip away and find this eye before Avantika does. Now, it's possible that Duren is not pursuing a similar goal and actually wants to stop Avantika from releasing Uk'otoa. In the dream, we were shown Ford and Avantika near each other, and then there was a light off in the far-off distance. Now, that could symbolize Duren or a different chosen, but this sort of setup with Ford and Avantika close together and the other one extremely far away, this could show a difference in goals. We know that Ford and Avantika share a similar goal, power over the sea. And it's possible that Duren at first did wish to have this power, but upon researching and finding out what Uk'otoa is all about and what he might do if he is released, he may have changed his mind, and is now actively working towards stopping Avantika from releasing him. And now, the party is in Darktow, and boy has the party dug themselves a deep hole. You know, it's funny how trying to find one man, Marius, leads to being welcomed into the heart of all piracy on this side of the sea. And already the plot thickens with the Plank King asking Bo to keep a sharp eye on Avantika. But the bigger question is, why did he choose Bo? It's possible he just chose the person he believes to trust Avantika the least, or it could be another reason entirely. For now at least, the party will enjoy an evening filled with drinking and probably some drunken Avantika shenanigans. But I think it's safe to say that the next episode is going to be a spicy one, considering all that was built up in this episode. The Plank King wanting to keep an eye on Avantika, Jester expressing feelings towards a particular boy, Ford having this dream, Caleb being wary of Avantika and worried about Ford's well-being. There's so much to be uncovered in the next few episodes, and I'm so excited to see how it all unfolds. But with all that being said, we are going to wrap up this episode. I hope you all have a lovely weekend, and I will see you all next week.